So my name is Gene Ibanez. I am Diana's brother. Um, some of y'all may know me from back in the day in school. On behalf of the Luna family, the Ibanez family, we want to thank you for being with us here today to honor David, his memory, his legacy. We truly appreciate you coming by to support the Luna and the Ibanez family today. All your prayers, your well wishes are truly appreciated. Uh, the Bible tells us that we must find gratitude in every day, no matter how hard, how difficult life gets, or how great we have it. We must find gratitude in everything that we do, in everything that we say. And so, again, on behalf of the Luna family, the Ibanez family, we are truly grateful for you coming out today and supporting the families. Thank you. So we will have a tribute by Joshua Luna. Joshua Luna, so Joshua Luna will be coming up to the podium. Thank you, Josh.
Hello, everyone. Like it was shared, thank you all for being here, showing support to the Lunas, to Diana, to Joshan, for my deal. This gets harder every time I come up here. So when I got the news that my Tío David was in the hospital, I was actually in the hospital myself with my daughter. She had just had major surgery to remove a tumor from her spine. And me and my wife were just starting to think we had gone through a year of trials, and now we're at the end of it, and we're seeing a light. And then next thing you know, we're out of the hospital, my Tío's in the hospital. And I found myself mad, sad, all the emotions that come with trials, that come with difficulties. And I just kept coming back to this Bible verse that I've committed to myself when I'm in those moments. And it's, shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me? These were words from Jesus himself in the Garden of Gethsemane. They came to arrest him. Judas had just betrayed him with a kiss. And he was about to go through Golgotha. He was about to be tried, persecuted, and ultimately hung as an innocent man. As God made flesh, and he had all the power in the world to say, no, this isn't going to happen. And instead, he chose to do it. And if someone like Jesus, who's innocent, can choose pain and suffering and ultimately love, why can't we? He showed us the path to move forward. And I look out here and I know in the past 5 years, Lunas have been through a lot. This is the 4th time in 5 years that we've been here. And I think about how strong all of you are and how we're not alone. If any of you are Catholics like me, this past Sunday's readings were, well, the first reading was of Moses and the Battle of Amalek. And Moses was the guy, right? He was the prophet. He was the part of the sea. He had Jesus on, or God on his side. And they call Joshua to battle. And God tells them, as long as Moses stands with his hands raised, they will have the better of the battle. And even Moses, he grew tired, grew weary. I mean, how can you stand up there a whole battle with your hands raised? But he didn't do it alone. He had Aaron and Hur with him. And when he got tired, they found a rock for him to sit on. One on one side, one on the other, held up his hands. And I think that's how we get through this. One of us gets tired, we find our Aaron, we find our Hur. Hey, can you hold me up? Let's get through this battle. Let's win. So going through those readings this Sunday, I was like, man, God's talking. I was questioning, how do I get through this again? And there's the answer. My Aaron and my Hur, my wife, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my uncles, my cousins. That's the only reason I can keep standing, keep coming up here and doing this. When Diana asked me to come and speak, she shared with me what was getting her through this. David and Goliath. And it struck me because I hadn't gone to that story in a while. So I sat with it, read it, and it made me think of how he chose to face Goliath in faith. He wasn't even supposed to be at this battle. His 3 oldest brothers were. He was the youngest of 8 sons. 3 oldest brothers were in the battle. His father told him, take them some food, see how they're doing. Come back to me and let me know. He gets there. Goliath, the mountain of a man, is challenging anyone who can defeat him. This battle will be over. Defeat me, and we'll join you all. David gets there, sees this, goes, someone has to do something. Takes it upon himself to do it. The youngest of 8. All he did was herd sheep. And he chose to go in it with faith. And I thought about that. Man, that's how I feel sometimes. Small. Not worthy to face the mountain. How am I going to move this thing? He wasn't a warrior. Goliath knew only battle. He was the greatest warrior of the time, right? Had a helmet of copper, had his sword, had a spear, decked out in all the armor, all the weapons of the time, right? What does David show up with? A sling and 5 rocks. How do you do that? Faith. So I started thinking to myself, what is my sling? What is my rock? Jesus said, faith as small as a mustard seed could move mountains. That was the mustard seed, the stone. His little faith took down the mountain of the man. One shot, done. So that's how we move this mountain. That's how we keep moving forward. We hold on to our faith. We hold on to the love that David gave us. And looking around, I can tell he gave a lot of it freely, without asking for anything in return. And so for him, I'll put my little faith, my stone faith, into that sling and keep going. And if any of you feel like you're tired, if you can't keep doing this, look around. There's love everywhere in this room. All we have to do is ask and we'll receive it, just the way David gave it. Again, I thank you all for being here. It means a lot to a lot of us in this room. Next, we'll be doing a tribute by Ava Ibanez.
Hello. I also wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Ibanez family for showing up for David. And I wanted to read off a quote that was dear to my tia, which is also David and Goliath. When David faced Goliath, he didn't talk about how dangerous Goliath was. He talked about how great God is. Don't talk fear, talk faith. This is a message from the Bible that my tia Nani and Tio David held dear to their hearts and is continuing to help my tia during these hard times. This message means that in the face of fear or overwhelming obstacles, one should not dwell on the negative aspects, which is talk fear, but instead have confidence in their faith or capabilities, and that's talk faith. Tia Nani would read this to David because she felt that how David approached Goliath in the Bible is exactly how Tio David approached his sickness. Strong, faithful, acceptance. I would now like to speak on behalf of my cousins and I and say that we are so blessed to have known David for who he is, the cool Tio. And the story behind that is that David never, ever told my cousins no. He said he had a reputation to uphold with us. He needed to be cool. Can't say no. Whether that was using the lights and speakers on the golf court or staying out late, driving around the streets of Long Island Village with no curfew, it was always a yes from David, no matter what my tia said. No, David, put your foot down. Okay. David, can we go? Yes. Flat, yes. I even remember the time my family was hanging out at my tia's trailer at the beach, and David saw I had a shark tooth necklace on and came up with the nickname Surfer Girl. Later, I had bought David his own shark tooth so that he too could be a cool surfer man. David supported my cousins and I to the best of his abilities. And let me just say, that was more than enough. But most of all, he supported his bonus son, my cousin Josian, in all the amazing things he has accomplished and will continue to be right by his side through many more. David, you are one of a kind and gave us so many great memories to look back on. We are forever grateful. I would like to ask y'all to bow your heads and pray. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon him. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. We are now inviting friends and family to come forward and share their stories, memories, and words of love to David, and for all of us. Thank you.
Hello, thank you everybody for coming. Not gonna read the Bible or anything, but for 2 weeks, I kept telling my wife, Anita, man, I hope they give us the big room. I hope they give David the big room because it was hard not to love that little guy. And thank y'all for coming again. From the Lunas, the Ibanez, everybody else that knew him and loved him, thank you. So, a couple of things I want to share about David. Like Joshua and his other niece said, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, Mama, but you were his niece, no matter what. That guy did not know how to say no. And no matter what, he would be there for you. And yeah, like Josh said, or like she said, he never expected anything in return. He was just there because that's who he was. And, excuse my language, but whenever my kids wanted something, he would always tell them, Mama, get your asshole kids anything. And Diana would always get mad at him for using that language, but it was a term of endearment. And my boys knew he wouldn't say no, and they would get my little one, Ethan. Hey, Ethan, go tell Uncle David we want McDonald's. And there would go Ethan. Uncle David, can we have McDonald's? No, you asshole, get out of here. 10 minutes later, they were at McDonald's. Every time, they didn't fail. So, you guys know him. You guys knew him. He was the greatest. The world's a darker place without him, but all we can do is try and make it brighter by remembering him. And please come and tell your stories. Please come and share your whatever you remembered about him. He was great. And that's why he had Diana, and that's why he had Josiane, because he deserved them and they deserved him. They were three of the best people you'll ever know. And when he got sick, none of us, I think, could believe it because he was never sick. David was never sick. He'd have his headaches. If he knew him, he knew he always had his headaches. Give me a powder goodies, I'll be good. Give me some goodies, I'll be good. Every time. So when he got sick, we all freaked out. Couldn't believe it. None of us thought it was real. After he had his surgery, and he was asleep for a while, I didn't know what to do. I'm sure none of y'all knew. Deanna, I can't even imagine what Deanna went to, but the same thing Josh and his niece were saying. All she kept saying the whole time he was in the hospital, we walk through faith, not fear. And I took that through heart also. We walked, and that is how he did it. David was not scared. For 4 or 5 months, he fought his little ass off. Like, who does that? Who does that? And like my brother Leah said when we went to visit him, man, he was holding on because he loved life so much. You just knew how much he loved it. You could see it. Anybody that met him could see how much he loved life. And it was just beautiful to watch it. It was as sad as it was inspirational to watch him fight every single day. Fight. One time me and Manita were there visiting, and they went in to change his tubes and everything that he had in him. And they asked us, we stepped out because there were just so many nurses in there. And me and Anita were outside, and you could hear all the nurses in the room laughing. And I was like, yep, that's David. David always had to make sure everybody was having a good time. And the nurses were laughing, and everybody wanted to be in that room. The nurses would always tell us because you could feel the love coming from that room. And it was all because of David. So when I found out he was sick, and I mean, we all were holding out hope that he was going to make it. And I didn't know what to do. So I used to be an atheist, and most of my family knows this. I never thought I would be anything different. But when he was sick, I made a pact. Let me keep my brother, and I will be faithful. Let me keep my brother, and I will honor you, no matter what. And we had him for a while. He was here. He fought his ass off. And one of the first things I wanted to do was I told my wife I want to go find a Bible because I didn't have one. And I went around looking. I went to a whole bunch of places. I'm living in Harlingen now, looking for one. I went to Brownsville for the last place because I couldn't find one. And the lady was talking to me, telling me about the different Bibles, how they were all different. I didn't even know there were so many different versions now. That a Bible was a Bible. So she was telling me all the different versions now. She opened it up. And I get it. Most of you, some of you are going to be like, well, of course you're going to find solace in the stories of David because he's David. But again, I was an atheist. I hadn't read the Bible. She opened it, and it came to Psalm 61, which we all know Psalms are written by David. And the gist of it is David crying to God, asking for help, asking for guidance, essentially. And that's the first thing I read. And that's where I was. I was begging for him to help me with my brother. So it hit home. And yeah, we all hate that we're losing him. It's still unbelievable. You go up there and you look at him, and he's got that little smirk still. And it's beautiful. And we're going to miss him. We're all going to miss him. It's not going to be easy. But like Josh said, we got each other. Y'all got each other. We got his memory. When we find a Buggy, we can all remember him. When we find Boba Fett, we can remember him. I used to call him and Diana Lucy and Charlie Brown, because I would always say Diana would always pull the football away from David when he was about to kick it. But David would always relieve her every time that she wasn't in the movie at that time, because he loved her. And Diana was great to him, so thank you so much for listening for my time. I just wanted to get that out. You guys read the Bible. David was a kick-ass. Keep reading it. Remember my brother. Keep Diana in your prayers. Keep Josiana in your prayers. They're great, two great people. David was the best, and I love you, man. Say Mom and Norma and Cindy.
I am not used to speaking in public, so. I guess there's like a common theme here. You know, David was the cool uncle. You know, no offense to my other uncles, but I mean, actually all the offense. Some of my earliest memories is like visiting him in Florida. He took us to Universal Studios, and I know he was like an atheist early on. That's kind of where I learned all that from him. Just kind of learned to open my mind or just think differently because of him. And like you guys said, he never really said no to anything. The last conversation I had with David, I was asking him for money because we're like hanging out at a bar and I wanted to play pool. And no questions asked, he gave it to me. I always knew like if David was around, I could count on him. I also felt like he was the most responsible one. Whenever my bike needed a tire change and he was there, I immediately, like before he left, made sure he helped me out with that. or fix the brakes. And one of my favorite memories of him, I was talking to about it with Josian right now. We were at a bike trail. This is a trail with a bunch of hills meant for mountain bikes, and we were all there with our BMX bikes, which are not equipped to manage those hills. And we were all kind of just egging him on to ride this huge hill down with a bump at the end of it. And all just to impress his lady Diana, to make sure he's still the cool guy. He rode it, just full head on, hit the bump. Honestly, he probably flew like 5 feet in the air, took a couple bounces on the ground and slid. And he wasn't moving at all. And Jessica reminded me of this. The first thing I said, I was like, is he dead? So the first thing he does is just have a little smile on his face. You know, he was reacting to the pain, but he understood that was probably like the sickest thing he's ever done. And yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I'll always remember that. The Astros game, he took me to an Astros game. That was really fun. He spoiled us. We generally, do not deserve someone like him. And I'm sorry, Diana. I feel like they took him too soon. He was the last person I would expect this to. I always counted on him. I always knew he would be there for my grandpa, and it's just so unexpected. And I hope in in every bit of irony, there is just another place, like an afterlife, and he's up there bullying my sister, his sister, like how he always used to, my mom. Maybe he's going a little easy on her now. Yeah. I'm sorry. I kind of can't get him up the cup, but thank you guys. I just want to say I love you guys, and hopefully, we can be there for one another. I feel like it's going to be a lot harder without him, but I hope we can, come together as a family. It's nice to know that we all got each other after every time this happens. Anyway, thank you.
Sorry, I'm short. Since I first was introduced to Diana and David, his character, his persona, his way of living, his way of giving was so infectious that even when I would go into a room with the family of the Lunas, he would immediately make you feel welcome and immediately have a weird giggle. And it pepped you up, It was like, oh, I like him, And every time we text, I would text Diana or send her voicemails or FaceTime with Vivi. When she was born, no questions asked, they made time to come visit. And they got to hold Vivi when she was only 3 months. We don't have any pictures, surprisingly, but I think that's what made it more special, is that we were in the moment rather than needing to take a photo. And this past Christmas, we were trying to even out our time to visit family. And we were tired, and we had just driven back from San Benito. And I text his mom, where are you all at? We're at Diana's. I was like, okay, cool. And I think it was already gonna be 11 at night, just this past Christmas. And my husband was tired, and Vivi was already not having it. And I was like, we need to go visit. We need to go visit. Something in my heart said, we need to go visit. So, driving home, he was already gonna merge off to our house, and I said, no, stay on. Let's go visit. So we go to the house, and we ring the doorbell, and he was so happy. He's like, you guys came. Diana immediately took Vivi away from me. I was like, okay, bye. And showed her the dogs. And we saw Theo Mikey there. I hadn't seen you in a while. And it was so nice. Never in our wildest dreams that we think that we'd be here. I remember after Grandma's anniversary mass, her first year, they told us to go meet them at the cemetery for tamales. And he had just, I don't know if it was new or what, he had just purchased the drop-down truck. And they had this banter about them, him and Diana. And I was like, you just got a new car, because I'm into cars. And he's like, yeah, you want to drive it? I go, yes. And she's like, oh, that thing drives horrible. And I was like, what? No way. And it was so cute, the way you could sense the chemistry and the love for each other. And the cute banter that they had. It made me want to stay longer, but it was very hot. But we shouldn't wait to these moments to say why we love someone. We shouldn't wait till it's too late. We shouldn't make time when we think we don't have enough. I thank David and Diana and the entire family for always including us and praying for Vivi. And now we just have somebody else to watch over us.
Hello, my name is Jose, and I just want to thank y'all for coming and supporting everyone here. My Uncle David was one of the best people I've met in my life, and he would actually never say no at all. Mike asked him one time that if he could buy me wrestling shoes, and he said yes. I didn't last a week in wrestling because I got thrown by a senior kid that was like 3 times my size. But David didn't care. He was laughing at that, and he used to call me Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. Another one of my favorite memories about him was he called me, Mike, and my mom to go to his birthday party last year. And no questions asked or nothing. We went, and he didn't mention anything about Mike barbecuing at all. There was like 10 guys there, and they all told Mike, we don't know how to barbecue, can you barbecue for us? I remember him holding the toms, and they were taking a picture. He looked mad, Mike. Like, he was comfortable. He looked comfortable and just wanted to be there for his brother. And another one of my favorite memories, my last favorite memory, was he took me on a ride on his motorcycle. Sorry, Diana and my mom, but we almost crashed, and he looked back. He looked back and he said, don't tell your mom about this. Yeah. I started laughing on the bike and I said, okay, deal. But he was one of the best people ever, and we did not deserve him at all. because he loved life so much. And I'm going to miss him a lot. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mercedes. I'm his niece from Florida. I haven't been here a long time, haven't seen him in a long time, but I remember Uncle David when I was really young. I really looked up to him in everything. I remember when I was a kid and the Eminem song, The Real Slim Shady, came out. He used to say The Real Slim Shadys, and he called me Sadie's, and we'd always dance to it and everything. He was the best uncle, and I loved him very much. And I'm so happy everyone's here for him, and I'm glad I got to be here because I haven't been here in a long time. And thank you.
Hello, my name is Isaac. I'm Mikey's oldest, and I would say that Uncle David was probably my biggest inspiration for what I want to do as my future career, which is becoming an automotive technician. I remember going to one of his car shows with his Boba Fett buggy and just seeing how awesome all the culmination of his work was towards it. And I remember that. And when I got older and finally decided what I want to do, and I told Uncle David, he was really happy. Probably because he didn't have to always do all the family's cars. He could push some of it onto me now. And he showed his support in buying me some of my first tools last Christmas. And I was just so happy when he gave them to me because it felt like I was getting even closer to my Uncle David, someone who I saw as one of my heroes. And earlier this summer, when Uncle David went to the hospital, the last call I got from him before that was that he was so excited I was coming down here for a month because he wanted to work on our Uncle Joe's car and to take me to some of his car shows so he can show me what it's like to be there. And I just remembered how shocked I was when I saw him in their hospital bed for the first time. It was like I couldn't see this scrappy little guy that would always fight for time to spend with everybody else because he loved everyone so much. None of that was there. It was just really hard to see him. And when we did eventually go do my Uncle Joe's car with Uncle Joe, Uncle Eddie, and our cousin Jesse, the entire time I knew someone was missing. It was my Uncle David. So now as I grow older and I eventually get into the career, I want to make sure that when I eventually meet Uncle David and that he knows that I became one of the best automotive technician I can so that he could be proud. And I know that he'll be watching over everybody here with that same smile and that same laugh. And that's all I have to say.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out, guys, and helping us celebrate David's life. Because this is what we're doing, guys. He's still with us. He'll always be with us. We just have to celebrate his life because he loved life more than himself. You know, he was blessed to have a great job. You know, he was blessed with Diana and with Ocean. You know, he got to travel. He loved traveling. He loved his Cowboys. Go Cowboys! like everybody said, no, he didn't know how to say no. He always said yes. He always said yes, you know. And when we were kids, I mean, we were always together, you know. You graduated and left to Florida, so I stayed as a big brother here. You know, it was my job now to take care of these other guys. You know, and I took David and Eddie and my cousin Junior to their first concert, which is now, I believe, is his favorite band. Who is it? Motley Crue. Yep. And so he loved Motley Crue after that. Him and he fell in love with Motley Crue after that concert and stuff. And then when he left to Florida, you know, I missed him a lot. We still talked on the phone and this and that, right? But it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And even when he came back, you know, we didn't hang out too much, you know. We're still talking stuff. And then he came back and, you know, these last years were great. You know, got to hang out with my brother a lot, you know, and a little bit more with my brother Eddie. You know, and I want to thank Diana for that. I hear that Diana kind of got after him and told him, hey, you didn't include your brother Joe in your family, Joe in your life. She got after him. You need to start hanging out more with him. And since then, man, we were kind of inseparable. You know, he'd come home, he'd find out that my bike was broken. He'd come over or call me and, hey, what's wrong with your bike? Well, this is going on with it. Well, when are you going to fix it? Well, I'm trying to come up with the money to fix it. He'd come over. What's wrong with it? Start taking it apart. He'd order the part for me. They didn't even have all the money yet. Don't worry about it. Pay me later. Just pay me later. And every time my bike broke, we'd start fixing it. It was, Joe, you really believe in not fixing anything until it's broken? My forks got messed up, and we took them apart, and the whole thing fell apart. Joe, you've been driving your bike like this? What? It still works. You know? So he'd get after me. We barely fixed that, and then my clutch blew out. And again, he comes, takes it apart. That thing had blown up in there. He goes, Joe, how you run it? Well, it wasn't broken. Get after me again. And there you go again. Go buy more parts from me. Now I start paying it back, And I go, David, I think I still owe you this much. Don't worry about it. You already paid me. Don't worry about it. You paid. No, but I still owe you more money. Don't worry about it. A couple months later, there goes my bike again. Last time I crashed into a dog, and I just picked it up and kind of fixed it, and the handlebars were crooked, and I straightened them out. And he goes over and he looks at them like, and I rode with him for a while like that. And then he calls me, hey, come to the house. He ordered me new handlebars. How am I going to pay you, man? Hold on, I still owe you more money. Don't worry about it. Pay me when you can. You know, and I started getting more money. That's enough. No, I still owe you. No, don't worry about it. We're going to go cruise here, you're going to cruise there. All right. I go, that's enough. I just want to hang out with you, tell me. So we go cruising and stuff. And that week that he got sick, he had already planned more rides for us to go to. And like, Isaac said, we're going to work on my truck, but he was waiting for Isaac to come over. No, Isaac's going to school for that. He's going to come down and we're going to let him fix it. And it was hard for us to work on it without him there. You know, but somehow we got it done. We got it done right. And my bike always fought him. He was, you know, we'd fix it and something else, he'd have to go buy more tools and stuff, or he'd hurt his hand or something. I go, Joe, your bike hates me. He was telling me, that bike hates me. And I hadn't ridden my bike since David got sick. We had already ordered another part for it. And I thought it was a sign from God that David was going to be here, because it said the part's going to come in a week. And then that's when David got sick. And I went, no, it's on back order. It's on back order. It took like 3 months and a half before I got the part. And I would take it as a sign, okay, David's going to get better. He's going to help me fix this. He's going to help me fix this. And I'd get up in the mornings on the weekends, and I'd go out there to my bike, and I'd start work on it, but then I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without David there. I couldn't do it without David there. Like, and then I heard that his friends from the motorcycles and the Volkswagens and the trucks and all that, all his buddies from the shows that are over here, thank you guys. And so I called my mechanic, my other guy, and I told him. He goes, well, I thought you and David were going to do it. And I had already told him that David was sick, and he said, I guess he had forgotten. I go, oh, that's right. You know, and then I told him that David wasn't no longer with us. And I go, how much are you going to charge me to fix it? Just bring it, Joe. Don't worry about it. Just bring it. And this past weekend, we got it fixed. And like, again, I told him, hey, how much owe you? Don't worry about it, man. Your brother David was a great guy. He would have fixed it for you if he was here. So I was able to ride my bike over here today with all the guys. Guys, just keep celebrating my brother's life, okay, guys? Always remember him. He was always there for all of us. Anybody ask him anything, he'd be right there for you guys and for all of us. So just thank you, guys.
We come as a team because we're scared. We are David's nieces. I was probably the favorite. I think when people pass, of course, it's like all the good stories. But all of us here, 100%, like these aren't, like that's all he has. That's all my memories that I have of him are good stories. I've never seen him get mad. My mom, his sister, I'm pretty sure he lent her the truck once when we all went to Florida. Did he lend her the truck? And she stayed out way later than she was supposed to with the boy. She wasn't a boy. She wasn't supposed to be with, and ended up crashing his truck, like crashing it bad. And when we got there, like, I would be pissed. I would be so mad if my sibling like crashed my, hey, are you okay? But I'm super mad. And all David did was like say a cuss word and throw a pin. Like that's all he did. Like, and it just shows you the type of like person he is. That's one of my memories. And another one, we were in Florida with him, and me and my siblings were like super, come here. Me and my siblings were like super stingy with our hot Cheetos. So we would get like the big bags and separate them, like literally divide each Ziploc bag of hot Cheetos into 3 little baggies. We were crackheads, I'm just kidding. With hot Cheetos. With hot Cheetos. And David gets there and opens one of those Ziploc bags and starts eating out of one of them. And my mom's like, no, like you're not supposed to, like they don't share. And they have them all divided. And David was so surprised. He was so shocked that we were like that. That's another one, another good memory. And whenever you guys are in Port Isabel, and if you pass by the Hopper House for David, stop and ask for the brown bag special. It's like a goodie bag for adults, and you pay $2, and they give you a surprise beer in a brown bag. You have to drink it. Don't look at it. That's what David's rule was. You drink it, and then we had to guess what the beer was in there. So, brown bag special at Hopper House. Whenever you're on the way to the beach. You want to say your story?
Hi, sorry. The only good memory I have of David is actually in your way, and actually, he would just want to dance, everything. And at first, I was nervous to dance, because I'm like, people tell me I'm not good at dancing, or my sister mostly, so. But then David would just go up and be like, let's have a party, let's have fun. And I would dance with him, and I didn't feel shy or scared, or I didn't even tell myself, do I look ridiculous? No, he was with me. It was fun. He was just like a fun guy. Like, hope people know out there, like, he's a fun dancer. He's a fun guy. Like, amazing. I think everyone knows that. And of course in Florida too, like, whatever, not Florida, I mean, South Padre Island, he would just be so sweet, everything. He would just show us around, like, it was just fun. He's really fun to be around with, and it's gonna be hard, I know, but at least he's in our hearts all the time. He's with his family up there. Sure, we lost other people we're gonna miss, but at least he's up there with them. It's gonna make them smile.
Hello, so I'm Nicole, David's niece, the favorite. No, so I wanted to say thank y'all for coming and being here, and thank you, Diana and Josan, for everything you did for him. Going off of Leah's story, at my wedding, I think that was like the most recent family gathering that we had. And just to have the love and support, like, from all my uncles. Like, David was there just dancing, and he was like the life of the party, and he just had a good time. And I know at that time my mom was sick and in the hospital. And just knowing that, like, everybody showed up and had a good time. And like everybody keeps saying, he always said yes. He always was there no matter what. And in my mom's funeral, Diana and David, they helped me so much. My niece Chloe sent a text, and I told him super last minute, can you read it for me? In honor of her, and he just said yes. He just did it. And I keep telling everybody, David lived life to the fullest. He was a definition of just living life to the fullest. And what he inspired me to do was just be there for each other and be there for people and just show up. Like, and I just wanted to say thank you, David, for everything you've done for everybody, for the family. And I know he's there partying and dancing with my grandma, my tia Cindy, and my mom. Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Mindy. I'm also David's niece. Like everyone's been saying, David was just the guy that would show up for everyone. Baseball game, any event, and if he didn't, he was gonna let you know, like, hey, I'm not gonna make it, I'm gonna be here. Like, he made sure to know that, like, even though he wasn't gonna be there, like, he was gonna let you know. And one of my memories is he would always, these two were very mean to me growing up, right? And they left to Florida before I did, and I went running after the car crying, and I guess they told him the story, and when I got there, he would be like, oh, they left you, and he would always like baby me. But yeah, I just remember he would, I remember growing up, being in Florida, he was gonna take us to, I guess, all the parks, and he wanted to be sure that we knew, like, if we were gonna ride the rides, that we needed to know, like, the back of the Back to the Future story, the back of the To the Future movie, and he showed us all the movies, and he made sure that we were educated on that, and it's just, it's like I'm just waiting to see him come up here, because he was here for my mom, for my grandma, for my aunt, and it's just unreal to me that we're here, and he's the best, and I know we're all gonna have a piece of him and honor him, and just live life to the fullest like he would want us to. And just a big thank you to Diana for everything, for sticking by his side. And she told me the other day that she would do it all over again, even if she knew it was gonna be the same outcome. And that's just the love that they had for each other, no matter what. They had such a beautiful love. Thank you, Diana, for everything.
Yes, Diana, I think all of us can agree. Like, we're all gonna miss David, but we're so glad that we gained you, like, with him. And you guys are goals, and it's just, I think, when David introduced us to you, like, just right away, like, he was just different, and he's always been amazing, but he was just more like family oriented, and I love your all's love, and we love you, Diana, so much. And thank you, of course, I'm sure you'd do it all over again. Oh, we never even said Dia's story. Remember when Dia was, I don't remember. How did it go, Diana?
David was the first one to tell it.
I don't know exactly. David was the best one to explain it, but when Leah, my daughter, first met Diana, David was like introducing everything, and Leah probably like looked at both of them and was like straight up told David, "She's too pretty for you." Oh my God. So I can't believe she forgot that one, but.
Hi, my name is Letty. I met David when we were in high school. Of him, but I never spoke to him. All I knew was that he would get into a lot of fights, and he would beat everybody up. David is my brother-in-law. And about a year after after I got married, we moved to Florida. And I was homesick, and I didn't want to be there. And on one of the conversations that his mom was having with Joe, I mentioned that that I was craving stars. There's no stars in Florida. And David took the time. I don't know why I still have this. He took the time to clip this from the newspaper and put to Letty from David, haha. I don't know. $1.87 for a burger and fries. We're talking about 35 years ago. And I don't know why I still have this, but I do. And I'm gonna hold on to it. Thanks, David.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carlos Ibanez. I'm Diana's younger brother. I'll go back to one of the first times I met David, or David was at our house. My dad had given us some habanero peppers, and we're eating, and he says, "Oh, look, habaneros." What does David do? Grabs it and just eats it, and that's who he was. And he's just chewing it, and my daughter here, she's just freaking out, but taking a video. She goes, "Dad, this guy just ate this." I said, I don't know if this is a common occurrence or not, but yeah, I'm surprised nobody has said anything regarding spicy foods, because that's who he was. We would barbecue, and it always seems that we would barbecue whenever they would be driving back down from San Antonio or Austin. "Hey, come stop by here and eat." "Yes, we're gonna go because I know you make pico de gallo," and he would tell me, "Make sure it's picoso, you know, put chingos of chile." And that's what David would say, "Put chingos of chile on it." So my wife and my daughter would take out some, and then we'd put extra for him and eat away, eat away, eat away. I guess a story that I don't think even my sister knows. One of those barbecue days, he's there and he looks a little off, and I don't know what's happening. So my sister's talking to my wife, and David goes, "Come here." I said, "What's going on, David?" He goes, "I'm gonna ask your sister to marry me. What do you think?" And I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Do you want to do this, David?" He goes, "Yes." "Do I have your blessing?" I said, "Yes, you do." "Okay, help me out, because now I need to tell your mom and your dad." I text my oldest brother, "Hey, Bob, this is about to go down." I start going down the list of my brothers, right? "Hey, this is about to go down. David's going to do this." He doesn't stand a chance with my dad. He doesn't stand a chance. So at some point, we all, we were there for him and supported his decision to this. I think I'll close with this other story, that Josian and him would always ride their motorcycles down our street, and they would stop by, say hi and whatnot. And David goes, "Chingao, Charlie, I think I messed up." I go, "What's going on, David?" "Your sister, she's pulling out weeds and she's saying, 'David and David and Josian, I think we did something wrong.'" I said, "David," "you're the man of the house, David. Tell her, solo mis chicharrones truenan aquí." So what did David do? He went back home, and guess what he told my sister? 2 minutes later, "What did you tell David to say?" And that's how those stories would go. One time he also stopped by and goes, "Man, your sister keeps telling me to fix the leak on one of the sprinkler systems." And I said, stupid me, I said, "Hey, I just saw this meme on Facebook, right? It says, when your wife tells you to do something, tell her, 'Stop asking me. Every 3 months, I'll get it done.'" So what did David go out and do? 2 minutes later, what did you tell David to say? So I kind of learned not to give any of those memes and things to David because I know he would end up repeating them. But, you know, and all funny stuff aside, one of the most genuine people I've known. I think because of him, I want to be better as well. Guy was great with my sister. Guy was great with my nephew. He was great with my daughter as well. I know a lot of people say, you know, he's going to be missed and he's going to be missed. You know what? We're blessed, you know, an individual like that. And we're blessed that, you know, we had a good role model for whatever amount of time that we knew him. For us, it was somewhat short. And I think for us, Ibanez, we can say it was too short, right? But genuinely a good person. And if we can take anything from him is, you know, at some point we, you know, make a decision to be good like he was. You know, the same story I hear that he never said no. He always said yes. That's who he was. Fight it in yourself to kind of be like him as well, to be that guy. You know, those are big shoes to fill. I don't expect any of us to fill them, but, you know, he was genuinely a real good person and a real good guy. So he will be missed. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ali Ibanez. I was also one of David's nieces, and I think I can be the millionth kind of story to tell that David was the cool uncle, and I can vouch with all of my cousins that he would let us use the golf cart. But I remember one of my earliest memories from him is that over the summer I took a math course, and my parents were working, so him and my cousin were designated the task of taking me to the said summer school. And I remember David pulling up in the Boba Fett buggy, unbeknownst that he would, and I had just done my hair, gotten ready, and as he was taking me, he's going on the highway, he rolls down the windows, and I remember getting back to school with my hair all frizzy, mad, being like, man, I just spend all this time doing my hair, and I did not have the heart to tell him to roll back up the windows. And I remember a lot of school stories from him. I remember there was this one time I had, parents do not know about this, I had just flunked a physics test. and I remember that same night, my dad invited my tia and David to go eat at Chili's. And I remember telling David that I had flunked this test. And he told me, it's okay, I used to get D's, and they used to tell me that D was for David. So I told him about my future career prospect, and telling him that I didn't think I was good enough to be in the profession that I wanted to, because I had to be good at chemistry and physics, and I was doing terrible at chemistry and physics. And he told me that, again, D was for David, and that he, even though he hated chemistry, that he was always surrounded by it through his job at Roche. And I remember thinking that, hey, if David made it where he was, and he's successful, then maybe I could too. And that has served as my motivator, going into senior year, doing my college applications. And I look back on my physics grade and my transcript, and I think, man, David and I are kind of maybe bad at physics or maybe bad at chemistry, but it won't matter at the end, because here we are, we're surrounded. Maybe success is not defined by being good at one or two things, but it's defined by a lot of things. And I know David had a lot of those things. He had great family, he had great support by my tia, my cousin, and he was just a genuine, loving guy all around. Now I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss all the golf trips that he had, and a lot of the saying no's to late curfews, saying yeses to saying not saying no, and late curfews that he would give us with the golf cart, and he will be truly missed. So, and I'd just like to thank everyone for coming. Again, it truly means a lot to the Ibanez family. Thank you so much to my tia and my cousin for being great.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Fernando Ibanez. I'm Diana Ibanez's little brother. Want to thank everyone for being here, all your support for my sister and for the families. But just would like to share a story that I had back in 1981 at the Ibanez house, and it happened in my room. I was 4 years old, and I overheard, because I was a little metiche with my brothers, a little nosy, so I could hear my brother Gene and Rudy sharing a story, and I heard Gene tell my brother Rudy, "Hey, did you hear about this guy that is pursuing your sister, that likes your sister?" And I'm over here listening, and Rudy's like, "Yeah, it's this guy named David, and a little short guy, and he likes your sister." And Gene tells Rudy, "Well, you better go tell him that he's not allowed to be around Diana. Diana's not allowed to be around boys. Diana's allowed to date when she's 45 years old. So you tell that boy to just hit it." So my brother Gene goes and showers, and I go tell my brother Rudy, "Hey, Rudy, I heard you guys talking about this boy David that likes Diana. Who is he? Can you tell me a little bit about him?" "He's a little short guy. He thinks he's all that. He's a cool guy. You think I can take him down? Because I'm 4 years old and I'm small too." And you let him know that my sister's not allowed to have boyfriends and I'm not allowed to date. So tell him to go away, okay? Tell him that little brother said that. So he kind of went away. We didn't hear about David anymore. So I think my message had gone across, right? So it was very effective. But then years went by. I was talking to my sister, and I could see this happiness in my sister. And I said, "Hey, sister, what's going on?" She's like, "Hey, I ran into one of my friends from high school." "Really?" I said, "Where?" "On social media or somewhere." I said, "Oh, that's great. Who is this guy?" "David Luna." "Hey, I know who that guy is." David Luna. So what does he want, sister?" "Oh, we're just talking, and great, we're good friends." Great. They end up hooking up, getting together, and this is where this story is leading to. There was one day that we were working on his bike, and I said, "Hey, David, I need to talk to you." And he's like, "Yeah, hold on." I said, "No, I want you to stop. I want you to give me your attention because I really want to tell you this. I want to get this out of my chest." I said, "When I was 4 years old, I really didn't like you. I was that jealous little brother." But I said, "Hey, David, I really want to thank you for coming into my sister's life, and I really want to thank you for coming into Josian's life." I said, "I've seen my sister the happiest she has ever been. I have seen Josian grow into this great, outstanding man." I said, "And I owe it all to you." And he's just staring at me like, "Okay, can you repeat what you just said?" I said, "David, thank you so much for just taking care of my sister, taking care of my nephew so much." I said, "I love you for that." And I said, "You're just a stand-up kind of guy." I said, "You're just genuine." And I said, "You just take care of my sister so well, and you just love my nephew so much." And I said, "I really thank you for that because I just see the positiveness that you have had in their life." And he's like, "Oh, thank you, man, thank you." So I'm definitely gonna miss him, miss riding with him as well, just hanging out with him. But he's always gonna live within us, and I'm just very, very, very thankful for everything he did for the family. I really want to thank all of you guys that have sent your prayers out to my sister and to the families. I especially want to thank everyone that paid those visits at the hospital, that was there for my brother, for my sister, and for my nephew as well. And for all of us. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, from the Ibanez, from the Luna family, I thank you all.
Hi, my name is Devaney, and I am one of Theo David's nieces on the Ibanez family. And I just want to say I'm forever grateful for all that he did for us, and he was the sweetest ever. He will always have a big piece of my heart. When I first found out that he was sick, my heart shattered because I would never expect my sweet Theo to be sick. He was one of my biggest supporters, always giving me great advice and a shoulder to lean on. He always tried going to all my volleyball games last year, always telling me to send him a schedule, and I would always forget. He would always bug me, Devaney, send me your schedule, like all the time, and I would always forget. But then I sent it to him before my last 2 games, and he went to both of them, and he was always cheering me on. When I told him I was playing volleyball at my new school in Wesco, he was so excited to hear, because he was telling me that he was going to go to every single one of my games. And I'm sorry. During my volleyball season this year, he was in the hospital, and before every one of my games, I always tried to play my best because I knew that's what he wanted me to do. And I knew that he would have been supporting me at every single one of them and always to be there. He was always dancing with us cousins at every quince that one of my cousins had, especially my cousin Allie's quince. I will always remember the moment we pulled him to dance with us, and he was dancing his heart out and trying to impress my tia Nani, showing him his best moves, and then eventually taking her out to dance. And I still remember he was dancing the whole night and wouldn't stop. He was the happiest ever. He was always sitting with us at dinners with us cousins because he would always call us the cool kids. He wouldn't sit with none of the other tios and tias because he always wanted to sit with us and had a sweet spot of us cousins in his heart, no matter what. He never hurt to make us smile. I still remember when my Tio David took me and my tia Nani and I to my first rock concert, and he was so excited because I was into rock, but I still kind of am, but he was so excited because he told me that I had reminded him when he was in high school with his black eyeliner and his hair and everything. I just want to say I'm forever grateful for him because he would do so much, especially for my tia Nani and my cousin Josian, and he was always there for them and always here for us. Losing my Tio David should remind us to keep our faith strong and to always pray and to forever be grateful for what we have in life and to never take it for granted. I just want to say, my sweet Tio David, I love you always, and you will always have a piece of you in my heart. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So the reason I had to come back up here was because that story hit home. Diana, I don't think you know this. One time we got invited to a family cookout of your family, and it's funny that he told David he didn't want him around. You can go back down because you're gonna get mad at me. Oh, okay. What? You guys are gonna get mad at me, so go down. David told my son Ryan, before we were gonna go to that family cookout, he said, Diana's nieces are going. Tell Ryan I don't want him to go around them. And I go, what? What are you talking about? He goes, I don't want Ryan around any of Diana's nieces. Make sure he doesn't go around them. I go, I don't know who you're talking about, dude. I don't care. If they're Diana's nieces, Ryan's not allowed near them. So that's a great full circle moment.
How's everybody doing? Thanks for coming to honor David's life, my little brother David's life. Back in the 80s, I used to hang around with Diana's older brother, Joe. We were like brothers. And I would take him over. I mean, he would always be around me, so whenever I would go to Joe's house, David would go along, not knowing what was going on. How can I tell this story? Later on, when he moved over here to Texas, well, no, he was living in San Antonio, I think, or Dallas. I can't remember where he was living. So we had like a brothers chat, and every time they would come down, we would text each other, right, and see where he was at. Well, this one Saturday, he never chimed in to see where he was. Yes, Diana, it's coming. The Silver Alert story. So he never chimed in, right? Like, where's David? We couldn't find him. And I was at work. I was driving. I worked for UPS. I was driving that Saturday, and my phone was getting blown up. We couldn't find David. We couldn't find David. Every stop I'd have, check up on my text. Did they find him? No, nothing. Finally, he chimes in. David, where are you? I'm at Diana's. Diana? Well, I didn't know they were seeing each other. So I'm at Diana's house. What Diana? Diana, Joe's little sister, Joe Ibanez? What are you doing with Joe? Oh, okay. Okay. So after that, it was like a big joke, the Silver Alert. We would always bring it up. And but I'm so glad that you guys found each other again. I didn't know you guys were going out back in the 80s. This till recently you guys told me the story before you got sick. But thank God thank God he found you, and thank you for standing by his side through everything. I know I'm speaking on behalf of the whole family. We really appreciate you, and we love you so much for standing by his side. Okay. I got another story, but where's Moy? Did Moy leave? Where's Moy? He left? Oh, okay. I won't tell that story then. But thanks everybody for coming. His car clubs, Texas Minis, Distinctive Rides, Beatles. Did I forget anybody else? Ultimate Look. The bikes. Yeah, Distinctive Rides. Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and saying goodbye today, especially to Bernie Sanders right here. I love you, Dad. But thank everybody for coming. Love you guys.
So, good evening, everybody. My name is Rudy Ibanez. I'll talk in Spanish, right? Yo me llamo Rudy Ibanez, I think. No, actually, the funny thing is that, as Eddie here just said, both of our brothers, again, Eddie and Joey, were friends, right, in high school.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is, yes, David showed up to our house, and I didn't know him because David lived on one side of town. I lived on one side, on the other, opposite side of town.
East and west side.
Yeah, but there was no division back then, right? I guess what I'm trying to say, I go to LBJ, again, 7th and 8th grade at that school, and lo and behold, David and I bump into each other. It was like, hey, you're Joey's brother, yeah, you're Eddie's brother, and just like that, we were friends, right? David and I, in 7th and 8th grade, we were inseparable. We had a little group of kids that we hang around with. Again, Homer Pequeño, myself, again, Moy, right? All these kids that just kind of ended up at LBJ, right? The funny thing is that we ended up being in football, us puny kids, right, in football. And they put us in the B team. We were not starters, we were not the kick-ass kids, we were the puny kids, right? But the coaches, for some reason, they liked David. Why? I don't know, but David had this spunk about him. it's been said, right? David had this personality, but David was a little like a pit bull in the football field. What is it? I forget the position, linebacker? No. I forget the position they put him in, but David was so little, and he could get the running back. And some of you may have known Angel Palacios back at the time, right? He was pretty fast, pretty strong, and David could get him. I tried that, and I got knocked out, right? I was in the unconscious. Everybody was like, "Are you okay?" But again, David and I were really close friends, and we would walk home from LBJ. We would break up. Los íbamos para cada lado, ¿verdad?
Jump the fence.
And yeah, again, but the ironic thing is when we went to ninth grade, we went our own ways. Oh, I didn't get to the football games and the parachute pants that David would wear and his Reeboks, right? But yeah, David was a pretty cool kid back in the day. So his cousins and stuff, you guys could know the girls really like David, let's just say, because he was short. Not because he was badass, he was just short. But anyways, when we went to ninth grade, again, our first class was football. So here we go, all our grupito, right? And plus we already knew that we weren't gonna play football because we were puny, all right? And now we had all these other schools, Austin Middle School and LBJ and what have you, these kids, they were gonna go ninth grade. So the first thing we do is we're walking out from ninth, the campus, through the back to the stadium because that's where they were gonna have practice, right? So we're walking and a coach is out there and we're like, sign this, we're dropping, right? We're out of football. Well, what happens in ninth grade is that David and I, we start going our own ways, right? We break apart. We're no longer hanging around. Not that we're not friends, but it's just he had classes elsewhere. David was a whole lot smarter than me, right? So he ended up going one way, I ended up going another way. But we would still hang around in lunch hour, and somebody said that David had eyeliner. Yes, David wore eyeliner at one point.
He was a rocker.
Yeah, because he went from, again, preppy punk, that was when I was in 7th, 8th grade, to hard rock, because Iron Maiden came out, Slayer, of course, Ozzy, Metallica, all that stuff was when we were in 9th grade, really booming, right? So he was into it with the spiky hair and stuff. David had that. The mullet. And yeah, the mullet. So our families, ironically, again, we go way back, right? Starting with them to David and I. And then ironically, here we find out, like my brother said, David's back in the picture. Who? David. At that time, I'm dealing with my own circumstances of life, right? With my wife's health. But in a way, not that David wasn't there for me during that time. That wasn't what it was about for me. As one of my brothers said, David came in and filled the void, a big void, and made my sister a better person, a better lady, and made her a whole lot of fun because she was fun. And my nephew, he made him into a man. A man. And yes, we are really very grateful to David, not just for coming in here, right, to our lives again. Pero Él hizo un buen trabajo as a stepdad, as a bonus dad. Who gets that? A bonus dad. Wow. Pues yo no tenía hijos, he came in and stepped into this family and made it a bigger family. And yes, my kid, my daughter, my son, they have a certain relationship with my sister and my nephew and with their cousins. Pero David was it, right? As everybody says on the Luna, David was a cool uncle and this and that. David se las ganó. Didn't take long. Yeah. David se las ganaba a las sobrinas, and that was it. We were out of the picture. David's here. Oh, right. You know, I could go back to my childhood and say stories and things like that, and you know, David would be standing here next to me like his brother is. Here, nah, you're bro, no me no. And I say, David, ¿te acuerdas de Mr. Lerma's class? You know, English, right? For those of you that went OBJ, he'll probably say no or this or that, right? Denial. Mm-hmm. But David was a cool guy and a great uncle, a great listener to everybody, and I really appreciated that from him. And it's hard to see him go because he was everywhere. See, if it wasn't his mini trucks, right? It was the motorcycles, it was a VW, it was the bikes, and then the funny thing, then my sister and Josian, and then my nieces, and then his family, right? Like he was all over the place. Y como muchos dicen, con dos niños no puedo con uno. David was everywhere. He was a father, he was a brother, and a good friend, right, to a whole bunch of people. He was just everywhere. And that was David in 7th and 8th grade. And that's what I'm really trying to get at with you guys. He was everywhere. And ever since I know him, that's the way he was. And the football games that we would go to, the PSJ Bears and they, right? Us huerquillos, they would throw us in the, what is it, that curve on the back? I forget the name of the street. Yeah, the student section over here with the bleachers. We were just there. We were all over the place. That was David, all over the place. Let's go over here, let's go over there. David, they won't let us in. Yeah, let's go, right? David always had a knack as well.
Was he ever under the bleachers?
Wow, I can't say. I can't say right now. But, as a kid, I had a lot of great times with David. Again, we split up, and he came back into our lives, and it was great. It was great. I could show you a picture of our reunion, but I don't think my sister would appreciate it. Because I told David, pretend you're passed out, and then David had this beer, and he's all like passed out. I sent it to my sister, right? And then all of a sudden, David's phone rings while we're at a class reunion. And David's excuse while I'm standing there with him is, I'm with your brother, right? But either way, David was a really fun guy. Again, fun to be around with. And as it was said, right, also find a happy person in you to share that with others. Because again, life is, he loved life. Yes, it's true. It's true. And if I reflect on all this that I've known David, he did love life. That was him. That's why he was everywhere. So I just want to say thank you again, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming out, supporting my sister, my nephew, and the Luna family. Thank you.
Appreciate your Spanish. Might sound like English.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josian Barrientos. If y'all don't know me at this point, that's my daddy right there. Best dad I could ever have asked for. This whole week I didn't know what I was going to say when I would come up here, because there's so much to say about David, my dad. He came into my life when I just moved into San Juan and was going into the 6th grade. Didn't know who this guy was at all, but like he says all the time, he's a fun guy, and he grows on people. And he grew on me as a child. He showed me so many things and took me so many places I never thought I would have seen or done or learned ever in my life. He made me become the man that I am today. He knew how much I loved flying and how much aviation meant to me and how much it meant that I wanted to go into the Air Force. And him and my mom and my whole family supported me throughout that whole journey. And it breaks my heart that he's not here to see me at the beginning of my dream, because he was there throughout the whole journey, throughout my childhood, throughout college, when they told me that I was going to be a pilot, when they gave me a scholarship and paid for my college. He was there throughout everything, and I was expecting for him to be there when I graduated pilot training. I'm currently in Del Rio, Texas, at pilot training. I just started about 3 months in, and we're already going to graduate in the spring. So this pilot training's already about to be over. And I was so ready for him to be there at my graduation, for him and my mom and my beautiful girlfriend Adi to pin my wings on my chest. Now the tradition is at pilot training graduation is you're supposed to break off your wings and give them to the person that supported you the most throughout the whole journey. The pilot keeps the wings, and the person you gave them to keeps them. The purpose for that is that when you both go into the afterlife, you're supposed to rejoin them up there. So when I go up and I graduate and I break my wings off and I give them to my mother, I know that for a fact that David is going to take a piece as well, and he'll have it ready for when the Lord calls me and it's my time. And I'll be there with him. For the past couple of months, as a part of the pilot training, I went to a specific training called SEER School, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. Now, during that training, they had us go into the woods for 5 days, the woods in Washington State. No food, very little water, no service, just me and 5 other guys in my group. Day 3 comes around, we are sleep deprived, we are hungry, we haven't eaten anything in 5 days, in 3 days. And it comes to me to lead the group this time to travel to our next point. And the point they give me was 5 miles away, and it was up a mountain, one of the largest mountains I've ever seen. So we get about 3 miles up this mountain. At this point, I have a 50-pound backpack on on my shoulders, weighing down on me. Mind you, I'm hungry, no water, nothing. I wanted to go home at that point so bad. I'm falling down on rocks, bushes, trees, anything you can imagine. And I have splinters and thorns all over my face. My nose is bleeding because I fell, and the backpack shoved my face into the dirt. I'm there laying down on the ground, and I'm still looking up, trying to find the peak of this mountain. I don't see it. I don't see anything at all. And all this time, my group is behind me, just waiting for me to get up, because we have to go. We have places to be. And I told myself, Lord, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I can't keep going on. But at that point, I pictured my mom, David, and Adi at the top of that mountain. That's what kept me going, my faith for my family and my love for them. It was kept me going. So I crawled the rest of the miles up to that peak. I had blood running down my nose, and my uniform was all bloody. So many cuts, thorns everywhere. It was terrible. But when I got to the top of that mountain, it was the most beautiful scene I had ever seen. And I had just wished that David, my mom, and my family were there to eat with me. Now, when I got back from Washington, and I heard that David was in the hospital, and that we didn't know when he would go. The first time I saw him, I told my mom that he is climbing his own mountain right now, and he's carrying so much weight than I could have ever carried. And every time I would go see him, every weekend, I told my mom, he's keeping on climbing. He's going to keep on climbing. Eventually he's going to hit that peak, and he'll climb his mountain. And that's what he did. He climbed his mountain. And when he got to that peak, he saw the most beautiful scene ever. He saw his mother and his sisters and anything he could have ever imagined. I know my last name isn't it's not Ibanez Luna, it's Barrientos, and on my uniforms, I fly under Barrientos, but just know that I fly under Ibanez and Luna. And my mom and David got me this rosary a long, long time ago. And ever since I started flying, I keep that in my pocket. Because I know they're there with me. I know for a fact that when I'm flying, David's going to be there with me in that cockpit from now on. I will do whatever I can to live up to his name. We each live under a big shadow now, and even bigger shoes to fill. David left a part of us, left a part of himself with everyone. And so for now on, I ask that we all each try to be like David, help anyone we can, because that's what he did. That's who he was. That was my father. He's the best dad I could have ever asked for. Thank you.
I had to write mine, I'm sorry. But before I start what I wrote, I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart to thank you to everybody. Because there is no way that we would be standing up here without you. There is no way that we would be up here without your prayers, without you reaching out to us, without your visits, without your text messages. And earlier today, when my son and I came, they let us in earlier than expected to come and just be with ourselves with David. And Josiane asked me, Mom, what do you think he's doing right now? And I said, he's probably with his quirky laughter. Look at all the flowers. And look at all the people that are gonna come for me. And for those of y'all that never knew, David danced a lot. And so he is dancing up in heaven, hands down. David had ADHD. And so, good luck, God. But standing here looking out at all of you, I am reminded that in our darkest days, God surrounds us with an army of support. And on behalf of my son and me, thank you, each and every one of you, for being a part of that army. And again, David knew exactly what was happening. David and I talked before him going into the hospital. And David always did David. And David knew exactly what we were going to need. And he put the right people in our place. People like Mario from Roche, the whole Roche family. His amazing nieces with your prayers. That, oh my God, were you all prayer warriors that got us through it? And it was you all's prayers that I would read to David. Baby Viv's prayer, we would read it in the morning and we would read it at night. To his mini truck friends, Fernie, Natalie. Oh my God, what an amazing support. To my family, to the Lunas, and the list goes on and on and on. The group texts with Jess, Barry, and Chris that would allow me to vent and ramble on. David put everybody in position. That was our army. You were a part of that army. Many times the doctors would even go into the room with horrible news, and I was never alone. Some of y'all, without even wanting to be there, would get those horrible news with me. But I am also reminded of something else we all share. Every one of us has been touched by David's love. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-7, it reads, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy and it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others, and it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs." I kept wrongs, or the records of the wrongs for David, sorry. "But love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres." That is the love David gave so freely, as we have talked about tonight. To be loved by David was to be seen, heard, and supported, not conditionally, not occasionally, but consistently, without scorekeeping and without judgment. As David would say, and it was his favorite joke, "I grow on people because I'm a fun guy." Get it? And it was true. David made it easy to love him, to love his sense of humor, his big personality, and that quirky, unmistakable laugh. David and I first met when I was in 7th grade, my first boy crush. Who would have thought then that this one person would become the love of my life? But somehow, from that early moment, love planted its roots. And once it found us, it never let go. What we built lasted a lifetime, and even now, in this moment, I feel it holding on. And like I shared with Mindy and other people, even knowing what I know now, even knowing how this story has ended, I would go back and do all over again in a heartbeat. When I think back on all that we shared, conversations, many trips, baseball and football games, the RV, golfing, graduations, our movie nights and lunch dates, I was blessed to love you, but I was even more blessed to be loved by you. I was blessed to walk through life beside you. Your love showed me what it feels like to feel the sky and stars within my reach. You have been my strength and my air that I breathe, my calm in the storm. You reminded me every day that I was never alone. And though the days ahead will feel heavier without your laughter, your hugs, and your presence in our daily rhythms, I know this: your love didn't leave me. Because I know that you are still here, in Josiane's heart and in mine, and in every person who knew you. And I keep telling myself, heaven just needed a superhero. And I think that heaven and God needed help because David just knew so many people, and God needed David's help to reach more people. There are some who bring a light so great to the world that even after they have gone, the light remains. Look at the stars and look at how they shine for you and all of the things you did. Rest now, my love, because you did well. You were deeply loved and you will always be. I will not say goodbye, but instead, I will use our favorite phrase, and I will see you in my dreams. I will give you your big squeezes and nosy kisses. See you tonight. And thank you, everybody, again.
So before I read what I have to read in closing, I'm going to tell you my David story. And so it's hard for me to say this, but I am David's favorite brother-in-law. The secret's out. And the reason I'm the favorite brother-in-law is because I live out of town. I'm not here to beat up on him like the other brothers. When I found out about David, I didn't know about David. I knew about Eddie and my brother Joey, the Luna family, and your brother Joe, right? But I didn't know about David. And my brother Rudy was like, see, David, Eddie, Joey, band, spring break. Yeah, okay, good. And so you come around, right? And then they tell me, it's like, was Diana seeing somebody, a friend, you know? And we're like brothers, right? We're 6 boys and 1 girl. So you know the boy that's gonna come at our sister has to come through us, right? And so pues Diana's got a friend and they're kind of dating. And so in my mind, I picture this David, right? Pues David and David, right? David, pues, yeah, David. And then I see him, and I think I see David at mom and dad's house. And I'm like, well, who's that? But that's David. Okay, David. Not a clue that that's the David. Oh, that's David. See, I know you. And David told me all of these stories from spring break. That I was there, but I remember. To all the nieces on the Luna family, the Ibanez family, y'all have to understand, David loved you, and will always love you no matter what. And to the nephews, the boys, David didn't leave you out. And the reason David never said no to you was not because he couldn't say no to you. What's the purpose? So he invested in you. David se dio de a ti para que tú sigas adelante, para que tú seas mejor que él, right? You owe it to your tío to do what you said you were supposed to do, right? Give it your all. Give it your all, right? Just like David. Like David's tía told me, no, qué vida pesada la tuvo David para ganarse a los hermanos. No, eso fue fácil, tía. Porque lo único que importaba aquí era Josián y Diana. Y si David le iba a echar ganas, dale ganas, David. We got you, David, just like you got us. And to all of David's friends, thank you. Thank you for supporting. My sister and my nephew, the Luna family, the Ibanez family, we can never pay it back. And this is stuff you don't pay back. We can only do better, be better, right? And be there for each other. Right, Mikey? You put your hand out to God and you don't let go, right? And when you don't know what to do, you pray, right? You pray. And that's all we can do. And so from the bottom of my heart, from the Luna family, the Ibanez family, we thank you, right? And I'm going to read something, and then we'll end our day here together. But we'll see each other out there on the road soon enough. And so I thank you all, right? I thank you all. Again, from the bottom of my heart. The Luna family thanks you. The Ibanez family thanks you. David Luna was born October 16th, 1970. And he passed October 13th, 2025. David Luna was 54. He passed away peacefully and went to be with our Lord on Monday, October 13th, 2025. He is preceded in death by his mother, Ernestina Luna, two sisters, Norma Martinez and Cindy Luna. David is survived by his loving wife, my sister, Diana Ibanez, his son, Josian Barrientos, his father, Eliud Luna, his four brothers, Leo Luna, Joe Luna, Heriberto Luna, and Michael Luna, Maria Luna, Anita Luna, and numerous nieces and nephews who loved him dearly, unconditionally. David will be deeply missed and forever remembered by those who knew him and loved him, his friends, his family. We thank you all for being with us tonight. May God bless you, be with you always. Thank you. Amen.